Coming up on this episode of the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up, Darren Carter gives us some special insights ahead of our trip to Birmingham City. It's tops off with Ross Wallace and a red card to boot. And Neil Mellor gets us all giddy already ahead of the visit of Liverpool. All that and so much more on the Preston North End Weekend Warm-Up. So a big hello and welcome to the Weekend Warm-Up. We know what you've been talking about and we'll talk about it too between now and the end of the show. Tickets not on sale yet, just for the record. However, to get there, of course, we needed to beat Cheltenham Town in the previous round, so that's where we'll start. Run the highlights!
Promising again from the Championship side. Busy. Feeding Reece this time. Should be a chance. And he just perhaps rushed it a little bit. Could fall here for Rafferty, who gets it on target, saved by the goalkeeper. Cunningham tries to get it back, and now Potts with his back to goal. For Whiteman, his shot was well hit but saved. And now McCann drifts past one, might have some room. The first cross is blocked. Rafferty with the second effort. The defender got a touch to it. It could have gone anywhere. Cheltenham have got everyone back to try and defend it and keep the ball out. It's in dangerously, and the goal does come from Andrew Hughes. The pressure tells. The breakthrough's here. Vandenberg now over the halfway line, finding McCann again. Reece had made his run forward there, but has just had to check back. Cunningham arriving at speed and tries to measure his cross to Rafferty. This time it's two, and it's Joe Rafferty who enjoys that. It's been a frustrating time for him of late. Now Freestone, and Sean Maguire winning it there well, and it sets up North End once more. Reece staying onside from a tight angle, looks to pull it back. Sean Maguire could see it fall this time. Oh, it's just wide. Rafferty has to try and defend. He's got Chapman in front of him, and Chapman's cross does come in forward. And now Vassell, and that's some finish from the substitute, who brings his side straight back into it. Here's Maguire now, just hesitates as we look to release Reece, and this time he does strike it well, and it's scored away by the goalkeeper. Towards Maguire again at the near post, and it's just gone over the crossbar. Here's the long throw from Reece, incoming here, headed away by Cheltenham again, as it could fall for Reece this time, who thought about the shot, and he wasn't messing about with it either. Here's Reece again now, looking for McCann, who had to really stretch for that, and he wiggles it out for Rafferty, and now Maguire from a difficult angle, and Maguire does score. The long wait is over for Sean Maguire.
They worked hard on and off the ball, created numerous chances, you know, and they were a different class to Cheltenham.
Here's Reece going strong, and with a strong finish, he makes it 4, and Emile Reece continues the goal-scoring fun. 7 for the season for him now, another in this Carabao Cup, and it's the icing on the cake for the performance tonight. It's Preston North End 4, Cheltenham Town 1.
Oh, what a night at Deepdale, and of course that meant we went into Wednesday night's draw. If you watched it, I'm not going to do my Harry, I am going to do my Harry Redknapp impersonation. There's only 2 balls left, weren't there? And you knew who they were, or you should have done. He wasn't leaning on his goal. Number 6, terrific. That was us, that was Preston North End, and of course the next one, number 14. That's a terrible impersonation as well. That was Liverpool. Preston North End against Liverpool. Only the second time, certainly in my lifetime, we've faced each other in a competitive match. And I don't know whether you know, but Neil Mellor played for both teams. Not that he ever mentions it. Here is Neil Mellor, and when Preston North End drew Liverpool in the League Cup, everybody automatically thought of that person just there. Where is he? There he is. There, Neil Mellor. What did you think when it came out of the hat?
I was buzzing. I tell you, from very early on, I was watching it with my little lad. He's only what is he now, 12, and we were like, it's on. Preston v Liverpool, it's on. And for whatever reason, I forgot how many balls were in the bag. I was thinking, it's the next one. And I was thinking, Burnley's still in it, QPR. I'm thinking, didn't know they were still in it, Sunderland. And then all of a sudden, finally, it came out, Preston v Liverpool, and we were absolutely buzzing. So my little lad was saying, he wants to go, got to go.
Which way round would you have rather had it at Deepdale than Anfield?
Do you know what? Just made up to see two teams that obviously mean a lot to me and the family come out together and meet each other. Whichever way it was, both grounds are very special to me.
It's only the second time in our lifetime that these two teams have played in a competitive game. I appreciate the Shankly Cup was a pre-season thing for a while, wasn't it? In fact, Philip Coutinho, I believe, made his debut at Deepdale in a Liverpool shirt. But what will this mean? Does the Shankly connection mean anything still?
Well, I mean, to me, Preston and Liverpool mean a lot. And to certain people, it will do as well. You know, there's lots of links, isn't there? Obviously, Shankly being one. Trying to think of a few others. John Welsh has certainly got that connection. Chris Kirkland has got that connection. Mark Lawrenson. So there's loads of connections down the years. And hopefully there's more to come. Obviously, currently now there's Sepp van den Berg. He's a current connection. So it's nice that I'm one of many links between these two great clubs.
And on the only other time in our lifetime that Preston North End played Liverpool in a competitive game, you played in it.
I didn't. I was rubbish. I was absolutely rubbish. Some people who watch the game would say, did I even turn up? And the truth is, I was poor. And maybe I can point to an excuse. I had a double hernia going on. And Alan Irvine, the boss, was like, are you okay? I'm like, yeah, I'm okay. I'm okay. So the day before in training, the boys were practicing penalties. Not that it could have gone to penalties because it probably would have been a replay back then. And I couldn't even take a penalty, grabbers, because I couldn't physically kick the ball that far from the penalty spot to the goal. So because I was nursing my double hernia and a groin tendinopathy, I was hiding it, just trying to get away. I just wanted to play in the game. And then at the end of that game, when I got hooked off after about 50 minutes, 55, because I was rubbish, I don't think I played again for a couple of months because I then had my operation.
Do you remember much about the rest of the game at all?
Great atmosphere, yeah. It was a big turnout, wasn't it? Obviously, Liverpool sold the away end. North End had a great turnout as well. And I thought it was played in a real competitive spirit. I remember Liverpool having a strong lineup because they were top of the table at the moment at that time. And I remember Steven Gerrard played, which was, I think, a surprise because you think sort of an early round of the FA Cup, they may put maybe a few fringe players, but they went strong. And it was I think the second goal they scored was late on, so it wasn't like a convincing win. So we definitely were competitive in that game.
They had to bring Fernando Torres off the bench to score that decisive second goal.
There you go. But they were strong to start with as well, Crabbers. If you look at their starting lineup, we were looking around thinking, could you not have rested a few more?
But still, they had to bring out the even bigger guns, was my point in there. But just finally, because I know you're going to go and pick up the kids. So just finally, in terms of this meeting, I appreciate we've got a few weeks yet before it goes. Tickets will go on sale next week as well. So I'm sure people will be clamouring for them. Hopefully a sellout at Deepdale. Where are we level-wise now? How competitive? Do you think that Jurgen will put out his kids like he did against Norwich City?
I think so. Yeah, I think so. Like you say, I think Preston have got 6 championship games before that. Obviously, the massive one, which is a few days before this cup tie, Blackpool away. The fans will have been looking forward to that one. So that is the championship game before this cup tie. But there's no doubt about it. The players will be looking forward to it. The fans will be looking forward to it. And it's one of those occasions which could be an unforgettable memory for the players, for the fans. For Liverpool, I think it's a case of we will see fringe players play like we did in the previous round against Norwich.
And the answer is yes, he officially does have the best hair in football. And no, we're not too sure what that backdrop was either, unless he'd taken it from his school photograph back in 1987. Tickets, incidentally, not on sale yet. However, all the details will be on pne.com during the week. But before we get there, let's have another look back at the Championship draw against West Bromwich Albion at Deepdale.
It's a corner that they'll try to maximise as Ledson puts it straight in towards Bauer again, who got his head to it and just sent it wide. An in-swinging ball this time, towards the goal it goes. Livermore hooking it back towards the danger zone, and it's been helped wide. And the Baggies have given it away here. Ledson looking for Daniel Johnson. Now Rees, who might lay it off for Whiteman. He gets the shot away. Deflection! Ben Whiteman scores! Preston take the lead, and it's Ben Whiteman who's got it on the act. The midway point in the first half. The pressure had been coming from Frankie McAvoy's side. Reach crossing in here. Oh, it's a volley that goes just wide. Rees turns and tries to find Maguire again now. He just had to check, it wasn't quite in front of him. And the hesitation allowed the defender in. There's a good challenge that time. Could find Rees, who brings it down. Can he finish it? Just wide. Well, he was battling to try and get control of it, Rees, and it just wouldn't sit for him. Furlong is going to send a long throw forward now, and he's going to get ready with the long ball. It's flicked onto the far post, and it has been turned in. And West Brom have equalised. I think it's Phillips who will take the plaudits. It came from the long throw that was flicked on, and Phillips was just waiting on the far stick. Here's Phillips now, looking to try and score again, and he ripples the top of the net.
Yeah, it was a good break from West Brom.
And North End retake the lead. Floated in well. Story's header was just not quite the connection he wanted. Rees trying to turn in towards goal. He's kept it in. Finds McCann, who also curls a good ball in. And now Ledson! Brilliant save from Sam Johnson. He got down well. Here's Grant threading it through towards Hugo. Is he going to win it? It's a poor finish from Jordan Hugo.
Now here's a tenuous link for you. Darren Carter once played for West Bromwich Albion, who you just saw, decent enough game. Darren Carter also started his career at Birmingham City. Darren Carter also played for Preston North End. So who do you reckon we've got on next? No, it's not Ross Wallace, that's later on. It's Darren Carter.
Right, Darren, first most important question is, how are you and what are you up to these days?
I'm very well. I'm actually sort of venturing into the coaching world now full time, sort of hanging the boots up. Last year was sort of my last year playing with Solihull Moors. I sort of had a think about it sort of over the summer. Was always going to transition into coaching. I've been doing it alongside playing for the last sort of 3 or 4 years, and felt now that it's the right time for me to go and pursue my coaching journey. I'm on my A licence now, going through that, and just recently joined up with West Brom ladies to do a little bit of coaching with them, and become first team coach. So yeah, the coaching journey begins.
Now, as much as it's always nice to see, and I probably see, well, I used to see you probably once or twice a year in press boxes and what have you, but I've not seen anybody really for a long time, because of COVID. Are you still doing that? Are you still doing bits and pieces in the media?
Yes, sort of. So I've been doing a lot with Birmingham and Blues TV. So I've covered a lot of the Birmingham games. Really over the last few years, I've worked a lot with BBC WM West Midlands, so covering Birmingham games, West Brom games. So yeah, it's something again that I've done alongside playing. Something I really enjoy, and yeah, have fun just going and watching football and talking about it. So I could do that for hours. So it's enjoyable. I get to see the games as well. I get to see Birmingham play. I get to see West Brom play, and yeah, it's sort of best of both worlds for me.
Now, before you came to North End, I sort of half knew you from up in the northeast when you came to Sunderland when I was covering Sunderland at the time. Although, if memory serves me right, I think your first, or certainly one of your first goals for Sunderland was against Preston.
That's right, it was, and Andy Lonergan was in goal, and Lonners is still one of my very good friends to this day, and I've played with Lonners for the England under 19s and 20s, and yeah, it was my debut. I think it was a penalty. Lonners actually saved the penalty, and it came straight back to me, and I've just rifled it in, and yeah, it's one I like to remind him of now and again when I speak to him. But yeah, it's crazy really how my career panned out. I made my Birmingham debut against West Brom. I made my West Brom debut against Birmingham. I made my Sunderland debut against Preston. So yeah, it's weird how it works out, isn't it, over your career? But yeah, so my only goal for Sunderland came against Preston.
And your time at Preston, I mean, it was a difficult time, wasn't it? You probably had 3 different managers.
Yes, again, I always look back and with fond memories in terms of I met some fantastic people, at Preston and around that area, and fully enjoyed living up there. It was my first time living away from Birmingham, for an extended period. But yeah, I came in under Paul Simpson, and the squad at the time, just missed out on the playoffs the year before, and the vibe was that we were going to push and have a real push that season, and things just didn't start well. We had injuries and whatnot, and the season was spiraling out of control. And then Paul Simpson left, Alan Irvine came in. We had sort of a rejuvenation that season, and then had a really good season the following year and got into the playoffs, lost to Sheffield United, and then after that again, Alan Irvine left and Darren Ferguson came in. There was a change of play. It was a roller coaster ride, so to speak, and so yeah, and then obviously I finished with Phil Brown, so it was 4 different managers I had in 4 years. Yeah.
So I mean, that first season was your best season, is it fair to say?
Yeah, I'd probably say so. I played, I think, in pretty much the majority of the games, and as I say, it was a real turbulent season. We didn't start the first half very, very well at all, and we were obviously, down the lower ends of the table. And Alan Irvine came in, and we had a rejuvenation and finished strong. And so yeah, I had a real strong season that year. So yeah, I'd probably say my first year. I think I had a good period when I came back off loan from Millwall in my final season. So yeah, probably the start and towards the end, and the middle was, very topsy-turvy, I'd say.
How would you look back on it, and if you were to sum it up, would you good times, mixed times, but more good than bad?
I'd definitely say more good than bad in terms of the whole experience, like living up, in Lancashire, and I had a place up in Lytham, and again the fantastic people I met off the field. It was a great club to play for, some fantastic people, and I've got lifelong friends from it. And on the pitch again, we had some good times. I had some some real good memories. My goal at Leicester that first season will always stand out as one of my favourite moments in my career. Getting to the playoffs that year when we beat QPR on the last day, and so yeah, there was plenty of good times, but there was also some testing ones in there as well. But that shaped me as a player and gave me a real experience going forward in my career. And that bit of adversity that we had, I probably hadn't faced much of that, before that. Being at Birmingham and West Brom. So yeah, it was experiences that I took on and used then in the rest of my career.
That QPR game, just before we look ahead to the game this weekend, that's the atmosphere of that still gives me little goosebumps. I've seen some great days and nights at Deepdale, but that one it just felt like something special that afternoon, didn't it?
It did, yeah. Like you say, we sort of, knew we had to win the game, and obviously other results as well, were going on alongside that. And we managed to win it. It was tense, wasn't it, towards the end? And just remember, obviously, the final whistle and fans coming onto the pitch, and it was a great day. I was actually only watching it the other day with my godson. He was only, I think, 3 at the time, and he was at the game, and there's a bit of video after where we're going round and applauding the fans, and he came on with me, and he's walking round, and now he's literally nearly a teenager. So watching that back, it was nice memories.
Just finally, and thank you for this, to the Birmingham City game this weekend. I seem to remember Scott Sinclair last season scoring a decent winner for North End. What can they expect this time around at St Andrews?
Yeah, I think, going back to that goal, it was a fantastic piece of skill from Scott Sinclair. I was there that night and, deservedly won the game. It was the difference. I think it could be a very tight game again, seeing bits and pieces of Preston this year. I've watched obviously a lot of Birmingham. They're a different outfit this year. Birmingham, Lee Bowie has really put his stamp on it, brought in a lot of new players. They're gelling really well, and he demands that work ethic. He demands that they fight and scrap in games, and they're very good from set pieces, corners, long throw-ins. It's going to be a battle. I think it'll be very tight, and again, I think it'll come down to whichever team can produce that bit of quality. Obviously, Preston have got goals in them, and a scoring for fun, but I think it'll be a tight affair, and it will come down again to maybe that little bit of brilliance that Scott Sinclair showed last year.
Who's Birmingham's man that has maybe got that potential for brilliant match-winning situation?
Tahith Chong, I think by a country mile, obviously on loan from Man United, and every time I watch him, he impresses. He's excellent technically. He's very quick, very aware of what he's doing, and he's the X factor really for Birmingham at the moment. He's the one that's going to create and score goals as well. So if he's on form, which he has been for pretty much every game this season that I've watched, he's the danger man. And obviously then feeding the likes of Djukovic, Troy Deeney, Scott Hogan, forward players who've got goals in them. But yeah, Chong is the X factor. Thank
you for that. And maybe see you for the return fixture at Deepdale.
Definitely, 100%. Love coming back to Deepdale, and I'll try my best to be up there for that game.
Just before we get to the very final interview of this episode of the Weekend Warm-Up, let's hear from the gaffer, Frankie McAvoy, looking ahead to the trip to Birmingham City.
Oh, listen, it'll be a tough game. I mean, Lee Bowers went in there and done really, really well. We know Lee, obviously, when we went to Charlton, he was the manager at Charlton at the time, and he did well bringing them up into the Championship from League One. And he's went in and turned Birmingham City round, to be quite honest, and he's done really well. The last couple of results haven't went their way, but listen, that can happen in the Championship. I've said to you here sitting many times, anybody's capable of beating anybody on their day. What we'll do is give Birmingham City every respect they're due, but we'll put out a team hopefully that can go and compete and hopefully go and win the game, because that's what our task will be.
Even with different management over the last couple of years, it's always been a competitive fixture against Birmingham. It seems to be kind of a goal either way, so it should be a tough game again. Yeah,
it will be. I don't think there's any questions of doubt about that. I think the only time I can remember is one of the games we were 1-0 down at half time. It was at St Andrews, and we ended up winning 3-1. DJ scoring the first goal for us, which was a great goal, and it sort of kicked us on to, for a great second half performance. And then last season, I had actually COVID when they came here and beat us 2-1. I think they scored late on, if my memory serves me right. But then when we went there, we had scored late. Jamie Lumby putting Scott Sinclair through for the goal, and it was 1-0. So we've had some good days or nights at St Andrews as well, and hopefully that we can get another one on Saturday, but it will be tough.
And last up on the Weekend Warm-Up, but certainly by no means least, although he's very probably the smallest one that we've got on the show this week, Ross Wallace, who played for Preston North End and scored a screamer of a free kick against Birmingham City. Also set up another screamer, I don't know why I'm saying it that way either, for Paul McKenna. Here is Ross Wallace.
He missed a glorious chance with the goal game at 0-0 from a header. He has to play it forward. Jahidi heads it away, only as far as Wallace. McKenna now runs further forward. McKenna from a long way out. What a goal! What a fabulous goal from Paul McKenna. From nothing, McKenna with a half volley sends a bullet past Mike Taylor to give Preston hope in the final 22 minutes. And all the Preston fans who've made the trip here to St Andrews are on their feet. Here is Wallace. Wallace strikes it, hits the bar, he scored! Ross Wallace has scored with 90 seconds of normal time remaining. And Preston North End have turned the game around at St Andrews. And Ross Wallace has scored a sublime free kick to keep alive the playoff chances. And it's going to go to the final day against Queen's Park Rangers.
We're talking to you because it is Birmingham City this weekend. And in fact, before we get to Birmingham City, let's remind people about your goal of the season. Now, we'll not mention the team because that's classed as swearing, but I think it was a Coca-Cola Cup game. It was a free kick. And if you remember that season, they did the Goal of the Season awards by voting on the night. And you got everybody on your table to vote about 100 times. Do you remember any of that?
I can't remember any of that. I was on that special liquids that night.
It was a goal. Do you remember the goal, though, don't you, that we're talking about?
Yeah, the free kick, yeah.
Yeah, and would you say that is one of your North End highlights? The North End highlight?
Yeah, I'd probably say one of them, yeah. I had a few good highlights, playing for Preston, but, that was certainly one of them. But obviously coming away from my goal, I think Paul McKenna's goal went under the radar a little bit as well. I thought his goal was actually better than my goal.
Have we gone back to Birmingham now?
We've went back to Birmingham.
Yeah, you see, I was still talking about the cup game, and then all of a sudden you've jumped back to that end of season or second penultimate game of the season against Birmingham. This is like people will have to, it's like an Agatha Christie play. This is like there's all sorts going on.
So what cup game are you talking about?
Well, first of all, we're talking about the game that I'm not allowed to say the name of the club because it's seen as swearing. The Derby game.
Oh, right, that one.
You with me now?
With you now, yeah, I've got that
right.
one.
Was that one of your highlights? Now that you know what I'm talking about.
That was one of the highlights. Yeah, that was. See, I told you I did have a couple of highlights. No, I enjoyed that one. That was good. It's always obviously it's one of those games. I always played well against them. I always seemed to score against them, and so I do remember it was a brilliant free kick. And I remember I think the game before that, I enjoyed that one. That was a good highlight as well because I think they never built that stand, and I think the stand actually collapsed as we scored a couple of goals. I think Mel scored that day as well. Chris
Brown scored.
Yeah, Chris Brown. Yeah, that was a brilliant day. That was my first taste of that sort of derby. So, that was a good one. It was good to get a goal in the following one as well.
That is coming up soon. But as I say, it is Birmingham City next. So, in terms of that Birmingham game, it was coming towards the end of the season. Can North End? I think they were trying to get in the playoffs as well. I think that might have even scuppered their playoff chances. And there was a sending off beforehand. There was a Williamson on loan.
Yeah, I think it was a Williamson and Bowyer, weren't it? They were having a little tussle in the middle of the pitch. I remember that. I started to get a bit feisty because obviously we had to go for it a little bit to stay in the playoffs. And I think Birmingham had to win to actually get promoted. And then obviously Kenna went and smashed that one in on the half volley from 25, 30 yards.
Good assist for that goal, I seem to remember.
Yeah, a little assist. He seems to forget that, Kenna. A little assist for that one as well. And then obviously free kick. I thought it was a bit far out, to be honest with you. I just thought, let's have a chance. Mel's in that had blowing up. Parquet had blown up. Brownie had blown up. So there's no point sticking it in the box. So let's just have a go at this. And I just caught it absolutely sweet.
What do you remember about that season?
That season, that whole season was a brilliant group of lads because I think we weren't fancied at all, and we were constantly up there. We were always having a big party in that up front. We're a group of lads who are obviously sort of being released, and we'd all sort of come together and we just sort of just gelled. It was a good squad. Obviously, we never managed to get promoted that year, but no, I really enjoyed that whole season.
Now, because obviously this is the preview to the Birmingham City game, I can't completely leave your goal, which was an amazing goal, and not talk about the celebration, which you sort of glossed over.
I thought that just went over your head. That it was one of them. I had a silly habit of taking my t-shirt off, which I wasn't favourable for me because I was never in the best of shapes. And just go back to the free kick, eh?
No, I can't go back to the free kick because I'll tell you why. Because I, in a previous life, in the same way as I had this chat with Darren Carter about I knew you before Preston when my job was covering Sunderland, and I seem to remember a game when Roy Keane was the manager at Hull City, and you scored a late goal, and what sort of happened there, Ross?
Yeah, there was a sort of a similar theme happened. The top came off. Yeah, I've done that a few times at Sunderland as well, and then I just saw at the moment I was playing Serie A football on a Sunday. You remember that?
Gazza, James Richardson, cup of tea outside a...
That is exactly what it was. I used to love that, watch that, and I used to see the Italians, the tops off in the crowd. And I used to watch that as a kid. It was like, oh, I'd love to do something like that. And obviously, I just done it too many times.
Taps off. That's what you were.
Taps off.
But I even remember speaking to you, probably a couple of weeks later, you had, this is from the North End sending off. And in fact, it might have been one of the, it might have been the next game. Well, you were suspended, obviously, weren't you? I remember seeing you anyway and saying, what, do you not learn? You had zero remorse. None.
Absolutely not. Because the lads went in the dressing room, they're absolutely buzzing. It's kept us in the playoffs as well. So, no, we ended up got the result we needed. QPR at home.
In fact, it was the QPR game. It was the QPR game. Best atmosphere ever, and we were brilliant, probably because you weren't playing.
Yeah, there you go. So I've done them a favour. I was gutted to miss that game because Deepdale was bouncing that day, and managed to get a good result and get in the playoffs. So I worked out in the end.
Just finally, Roscoe, I know that you did enjoy your time at North End, and you'd have probably stayed there longer if you could.
Yeah, no, I've went on record saying that on numerous occasions. I loved my time at Preston, and obviously things happen in football financially at the time. It was just the right move for me, and it was the right move for the club to get some money in. So, but no, take nothing away. I love my time at Preston, and I still love the club now, and I still love going to watch them, and I still go to the games, and I want them to do well.
And that's your lots for this episode of the Weekend Warm-Up. If you're thinking of going to Birmingham City and you haven't got your ticket yet, don't go because you can't pay on the gate. However, if you want your fix of football in the flesh, then you come to Deepdale on Tuesday night, the visit of Stoke City. Both those games, you can catch the commentaries, of course, on iFollowPNE. I'm going to beg you now. I am going to beg you. Yeah, I'm going to beg you. Don't forget to like and follow wherever it might be around this screen, and then you will get notifications of every weekend warm-up in the future. And if you've liked this one, well, there's not a lot I can do to help you about that, but you can get a further fix by watching some of the previous episodes on North End's official YouTube channel. That's it. We'll see you next time. Just remains for me to say, come on, you Whites.